Welcome everyone to the very first episode of Tales of Elordial, A Wound in the Wind. I am going to be your Game Master, Lachie James, and we are Myth and Mischief. So much excitement. On my left here we have Nat Norton.
Hola.
We have Joe Fergus. We have Symone Pearl, looking so ecstatic to be here. And we have Jack Simmons.
Hey! It's me.
It's him.
You know me.
You may recognise me and Jack from our other channel, The Game Boys Music, or The Game Boys, or The Game Boys Guitar, depending on where you're looking at us. If you've come over to check us out from there, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it so much. We promise there'll be a little bit of music in this. Maybe not ours, but there'll still be music. And you may have also noticed that, unfortunately, our third Game Boy, Cal, is not here. Due to scheduling conflicts, he has been unable to actually take part in the playing of this game, despite being one of the first 2-3 people, I guess, who worked on this together like 3 years ago now.
Not to mention the intense drama between the three of us, but we won't.
Yeah,
we won't go into that.
Yeah. We'll let
The world's not ready for that.
No.
So he's been instrumental in helping get this set up, doing a lot of this set work around, and actually a lot of world building too, because he wrote a backstory that was ridiculously long. So who knows? Hopefully, maybe he'll get to show up at some point. But for now, this is the group. If you want to find us on our socials, they'll be in the description below. So I guess let's just get into it then. Aeotuul, who is the wind, whispers a joyful cry across the snow-topped back of Dharamaa's wall. It flows down to the sea, across the waves that Arnaveta under the first light of Suravite's golden glow. White sails dot the crystalline blue of that sea, called the Bight, catching Aeotuul's breath and speeding away to far-off destinations. Some to the fertile land and military pride of Aetuul, others to the chaos and clamour and opportunity of Sangaro. Still more are destined for Marvid, with rows upon rows of oars drawing them ever closer to its golden fields and vibrant music. Less obvious are the smaller ships destined for Vaetra, driven through the water by mysterious magics that they learn in their great sandstone towers and hidden academies. In the tail of that wind, a red-bearded man clutches a wide hat to his head and glances skyward. The last dusting of snow still rests upon the trees that tower above him, dotting the expertly terraced farms such that they never seem to break the flow of the forests around them. His donkey brays, and he subconsciously scratches it behind its velvety ears. Then he continues on his way towards the village of 10 Trees. The old dirt road travels through more fields, more terraces, thick with maize despite the snows they had endured, a sign of Zoshimetsu's favour. Then it turns uphill, past the mill pond and Molin's mill with its water wheel grinding down the maize gathered by the villagers to be made into bread, porridge and liquor. The road runs up towards Cathedral Mountain, at the base of which sits Fort Calgaria, a remnant of old Syracasia, built for a war long past. Now the dark stone of the fort is bedecked with flowers and vines, long ropes and bright orange and green banners in the traditional colours of Vernalia. The homes of the villagers too bear the signs of the oncoming festivities. Clotheslines decked in garlands of mistletoe, effigies of strange horned and winged creatures hanging from doors. Iron horseshoes nailed above those doors are upturned and decorated with little stones like eyes and smiling faces. Children roll around upon the village green, kicking a ball to one another and yelling in joy when it rockets past one team and up the hill in the direction of the near-perfect circle of 10 trees that gives the village its name. And now we're going to see who we're going to meet first. Okay.
You got a glance, dude.
The red-bearded man's cart rolls past a large stone building, one of only 3 in the village. Smoke billows out of the building's chimney. From the other direction, eyes begin to turn and fingers begin to point at an unusual-looking man walking downhill towards the blacksmith. Joe, if you would like to describe your character.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You see a ruby red tiefling dressed in the attire of the guards of the town. Just casually strolling towards the blacksmith. At his side, he wields 2 short swords.
Around you, the eyes of the village have somewhat grown accustomed to you because you've now been here for 2 weeks or so. But there's still, whenever you're out and about, your appearance does draw attention and you get a few people whispering. But as you approach the blacksmith itself, you see Bilfred, the owner of Firestone Forge, a stocky, muscular, bearded dwarf with this massive red beard, starting to get little shoots of grey in it, looks up at you and goes, "Would he know you by... What name would he know you by?"
He would know me by Knives.
Okay. "Knives, my boy. Good to see you again. What are you here for this time? Checking on the order?"
Yes, Bilfred, I am here to check on the order.
"Excellent. Well, of course, Bishop is very on my back about this, and we're not really any further along than we were yesterday. I'm working as hard as I can, but festivities and all. Hardly going to be..." In the background, as he's talking, you see 2 other people inside the building start talking, and through the open door, you can see a young half-elven man and another dwarven girl. Both slightly younger than you by a couple of years, but still people you have kind of been in contact with in your time in Trees. Emmett, the half-elven boy, and Fenelon Firestone is the blacksmith's daughter. They come out. Fenelon has this garland of flowers around her neck, which you sort of catching Emmett's eye can probably guess he maybe gave her. And they head out and interrupt your conversation with her. "Hey, Dad, we're just going out to the festival for a bit, right? Knives! Good to see you again."
Good morning, Fenelon.
"Morning. You're so serious. Have a bit of fun, right? Come on, it's festival time. Why are you still in your gear?"
Because I am working.
"It's not like anyone's going to attack us. Have you ever seen that happen here ever?" "I suppose you haven't been here." "None of us have ever been attacked. That isn't a thing. It doesn't happen. We don't need guards."
I am charged with a job, which is what I'm doing.
And Bilfred.
Perhaps after my shift.
Bilfred goes, "All right. Go along, Fenelon. Hey," looks at Emmett. "Behave." He nods and goes, Good to see you, Knives. You have to show a bit more of the sword sometime when you can."
I give him a wink.
And then he goes running off. "All right. Well, as you can see here, the delivery for the logging camp is on schedule. Jost will be receiving everything he needs as soon as it's ready. I've already sent off the first shipment. I've just been working very hard on... There he is." Up the hill walks another man who you've seen a couple of times around town, Jules Molan, the owner of the mill. He walks up, hailing, kind of dark-haired, kind of shaky man, a bit nervy. Walks up and says to Bilfred, "Sorry, Ethel just sent me. Did you have that last part? We're having a lot of trouble getting the grain. They keep sending us grain and it's just not working right. Things just aren't grinding." And Bilfred, "This is what's been holding up your order. I'll get that for you." Disappears into his building and comes out with this strange kind of metal, looks like a gear, kind of lever-y gear kind of thing. Hands it over to Jules and then goes, "All right, and that'll be, I think that was 10 gold for that one, right?" "Yeah. I'll give it to you. It's fine. Go on your way." And Jules goes running off, just kind of hailing you awkwardly. With that job done, Bilfred looks to you and goes, "As much as I would like to, I appreciate the work ethic. You really should enjoy yourself. Young people should get into the festival.
Yes, I suppose you're right, but I have a job.
All right, well, take some time for yourself when you can, eh?
Aye.
All right, and then he goes back to work. Is there anything you would like to do after that? The festival is around, you could patrol, you could listen to them and start to enjoy it. What do you begin to do with the rest of your day?
Might take the long way back.
Okay. Just kind of exploring around and having a look a bit. All right. So you begin winding your way slowly up the hill back towards Fort Calgaria. Okay. Up that hill from you, within that fort, a woman stands at the window, looking down at the village green, at the children playing, and at the circle of trees that you know so well, finally beginning to flower. Symone, if you would like to describe your character.
My character appears to be a tall elf. She wears a lot of natural sort of tones, and she looks to be a young adult. She sort of resembles the colours that are in the landscape of the town.
Okay. So, with those colours, it is this kind of end of winter, but you tend to more resemble the orange of the stone and the green of the trees, even at this time of year. As you look down at the children playing and the trees, I'm going to get you to do the first roll of the campaign. Do you make a perception check for me?
No
Okay.
pressure, mate.
Okay.
No pressure.
18.
18. Very nice.
I know. This is a new campaign for me. Okay, I'm going to be rolling.
This is what you've been waiting for.
I've been saving all these good rolls.
Yeah, just spending all your luck on this.
Yeah.
So as you look out the window, you look over those trees. The circle of 10 trees in this village of 10 trees are, as you would know, seen as an omen. They are used to predict the future, the current fortunes of the village and all of that. Both you and Lord de Calgaria are the only ones who seem to be capable of interpreting those omens, and you do sometimes have debates about that, of course, and what they mean. But right now, something catches your eye. Only one of the trees is currently flowering, a pink blossomed tree, much like a cherry blossom. Another, though, a dark oaky wooden tree, has begun to entwine some branches with it, as though they are growing together and wrapping around each other. You've never seen anything like it before. Worse than that, where that oaky tree entwines with the cherry blossom does not flower, whilst it does everywhere else. But before you have much of a chance to think about that, your thoughts are interrupted by a familiar argument, as from down the hall, you hear, "Now, Lord de Calgaria, you must listen to reason." "Terence, I'm hardly going to allow any further logging closer to my people's territory. You know what the... But the king's it... Terence, you must listen to me. You must understand." This argument sort of goes back and forth as Lord de Calgaria, Lord Burro de Calgaria, and Hidlatel Terence Fishop turn the corner and enter your room. You're not in your bedroom, just like our room, a sitting room. That would be weird. Just like, "Hey, get out of bed, we're talking." So as they enter the room, you see the familiar sight of Lord Burro de Calgaria, who is a very tall man, standing at, I think, 6'7", with Large pointed ears, hairy arms, dark skin, hairy arms and legs, and a wide, flat nose. Not entirely human. You know him to be at least partly descended from the local Furbolg tribe, the Latoikifame. Terence, beside him, is also quite a tall man. He's just under 6 foot and rail thin, with a nose like a pickaxe and a tattoo of fish entwined together like chains wrapping up around his body and coming up to his neck, sign of dedication to commerce in Eteria. As they enter the room, Buro looks to you and goes, Juniper, good morning.
Good morning.
And Terence goes, my lady, you must make him see reason. It is not... The edict, and he holds up this piece of paper that you've seen so many times. King Tayuka, he has allowed Lady Kostroka, you know this. Get him to talk to his people. They keep attacking. They keep sabotaging our shipments.
We've already had this conversation so many times. Do we need to speak about it on the day of the festival?
Every day is another day lost where finance and money could be made. Every hour wasted in this conversation is more coin lost to the crown. I was chosen by King Tayuka to represent his interests.
These lands have not had what you're wanting for hundreds of years. I think they can wait.
Well, then they're going to have to bend to the crown at some point, aren't they? Or are you not part of this country? Lord Buro kind of looks at him and looks at you as he says that. We are, of course, part of this country. But there is the Accord, remember. I still believe this is in violation of that Accord. The Calgaria Accord clearly said our way of life is to be left alone. You were there.
I wasn't.
Juniper would know, right?
I remember this.
You'll both hear more from the king. Terence storms off down the hallway. Buro sighs. He's becoming a problem.
Yeah, this is not going away.
Perhaps I do need to speak to Forum. Maybe we need to try to find some kind of compromise before this gets ugly. But you were right before. Festival, right? This is the wrong day for that kind of talk.
That's right.
We are supposed to be celebrating.
Yes.
Well, any plans for the day?
Well, I'm going to see what the festival has to offer.
Excellent. You've got a costume ready?
Of course I do.
You hardly need one. The children are mostly dressed as you.
I just, doll myself up a little bit more.
See, I've been thinking, given I've got all the hair, I thought maybe I'd just go as a bear. Just like get the big muzzle thing and just pretend to be a bear.
That would be perfect.
Yeah. Might scare some people though.
A little scary for the kids.
Not, but then, what if... Actually, no, we don't want the kids to think that bears are friendly.
I'll
keep thinking.
Something else.
I'll keep thinking. Well, good morning. And he walks off down the hallway. So, with the rest of your day, would you like to explore the festival, have a look at festivities? What else would you do with your day?
Well, now I've got to put on a costume.
All right, full description.
Well, I might go forage for some leaves and some flowers to make up a costume. I'm going to check back with the 10 trees. I can't remember what you called it. I'm sorry.
The circle of 10 trees. It is just
the
the
circle
10
of 10
trees.
trees. Yeah. I'm going to check back in with that,
Okay.
just to see if anything does change, because I haven't noticed, the blooming flowers
Yeah.
before today. So,
Okay.
But I think I'm just going to spend most of the day in the festival.
Excellent. All right. Well then, you two, as you're heading out to explore the festival and you're coming up the long way, would both end up sort of out in the village, kind of traveling in different directions and possibly walk past each other. On the street, I'll say, there is only one main road through this village. You'd probably pass each other. If there's anything you would say to each other.
I'd just give her a bit of a bow as I'm walking past. Juniper.
I turn my nose up at him.
Okay.
And I keep walking.
All right. Cool. So, as you continue on your way in the direction of the 10 trees, you walk past a wooden construction near the top of the green, a perhaps offensively short distance from the circle of trees, but just far enough away that you only get a bit of a sort of curl to your lip. A stage is being erected on that green. Red curtains stretch across the stage, blocking sight from one side, but with the way that you're walking, you travel past the back of the stage, where you see a young sandy-haired man frantically rehearsing his lines, and everyone else's, while watching him, a barely concealed look of annoyance on his face, is a much more handsome man with another parchment clutched in his hand. If you would like to describe your character, Jack.
So, kind of going through these lines, figuring out his part, and just coldly judging some of the people around him. You see a fairly tall, fairly pale, semi-decently built, very handsome man with a bit of a rugged look to him. Long kind of, I can't even remember the exact color. It's like a kind of a faded brown, dull coloration to it. And he's a bit more focused on everyone else around him rather than his own lines. He's kind of listening to the man in front of him go over what he's saying, and he's just like, just silently mulling something over to himself as he watches the bit of, I guess, chaos in some of the crew. Are you feeling all right there?
What? Sand, the sandy-haired man, perhaps appropriately named or perhaps offensively named, who knows, looks at you, his eyes go wide and goes, what? Sorry, maybe lose my spot.
Scene 12.
Yeah. It's fine, I'm getting there. Like, I've got it, I figure it's best if you know everyone's lines, right? So if anyone messes up, you can kind of...
Do you have your own?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah. So the bit with the horses, right? When
I go looking around for Paula.
Paula.
I go looking around for Paula. I just kind of glance around. Is she here?
Yeah. So she, as you're glancing around, you see her behind you tuning instruments. She obviously is an actor, but also is one of the primary musicians for the stage, and she seems to have a bit of a talent for enchanting instruments and making them play themselves.
Sand, I think you've got this. Just go over your own lines for now. Don't worry about the rest. We're all competent actors here.
Right.
I'm sure you can. Yes. I'm sure you can handle your own. Just relax. You've got this.
Right. Yeah.
And I walk off towards Paula with a very clear look of, what have you gotten me into?
Well, he's got the beginnings of talent.
He's a buffoon.
Well,
I don't think he even knows which lines are his.
Sand, which character are you playing? He frantically looks as I frantically look.
Do I need to make any more point than that? Come on.
He'll get there. Just trust me, you know. Hey, I've given you a chance, haven't I?
Yes.
And yes, Sand is young and he's an idiot and he's green. Sorry, Sand. And Dominic.
Do not get me started on Dominic.
He's maybe a little past his prime. Yeah, look, that's all very true. But he's...
I just think we could be looking into better circles. This play could be so much more. The writing is there. The script is there.
Yes, Edwina is a genius, but how do you think we're going to pay them? Did you see the coin purse we were given for this performance?
Yes.
It's barely going to get us to Argenset.
Finally, I can't tolerate another day in this dull, dreary town.
You and your obsession with society and company and all that.
There's just nothing to do here. Even this festival is so drab.
Why don't you make a costume? You love that, don't you? Look at all the kids. They're pretty good at this.
It's no different from any other day. I do like my outfits.
Well, entertain yourself then. I've got to tune instruments.
Fine. And he walks into the costume section and just starts going through the set pieces and just like, I'll remind you of this later. This was your idea. He starts going through everything.
All right. So, as you're doing that, as you're swiping through, you hear the sound of wheels rolling up the hill. Actually, all three of you have sort of ended up in the right place to be hearing this. Wheels of a wagon rolling up the hill and the dinging of a bell. The cries of the children on the green suddenly go up with excitement and joy as you hear, "Alrighty then, everyone, I've come with goods and all the things you could want." And then you hear, much like a particularly famous character who arrives on a wagon, the sounds of something that sounds like a small firework going off from the back of this wagon.
I just grab like something reminiscent of a scarf and just kind of fling it around and go to check out what's going on.
As you peek around, you see a very short man, 5'1", potentially, with red beard and red hair and this wide-brimmed hat, steps down off this wagon, pulled by a donkey, absolutely laden with just everything you could possibly imagine that looks interesting. Whether or not it is interesting is a different question entirely. And he seems to be, as the children come up, he's handing them out these little knickknacks and toys, and they'll throw him, a copper piece here and there or something like that. Small portions of money, their pocket money given to them by their parents as they're handed this stuff. He sees you peeking around and just tips his head to you with a broad grin.
Fancy wares you got there, my friend.
Why, thank you. I came a long way, found them all myself. Can I interest you in anything?
From where, may I ask?
Oh, on the road, been on the road all the way from, now where was I last? So I did travel through Fort Howell. Not much use for my wares there. They're all very military, not much fun. But I came all the way up from Marvid, stopped in all sorts of places. It's been a long journey.
I'm sure. Do the items that he have look Marvidish at all?
Some of them.
So, yeah. Anything that I may take a gander at. It all looks quite fun.
Of course. Have a look around. Maybe, he picks up this hat that just has like tassels that are like a foot long. Eh?
How ridiculous does it look?
Pretty ridiculous. It's maybe fashionable if you're like on that edge of high fashion where it kind of is supposed to look ridiculous.
I'm sure I can do something with this.
Yeah?
Why not?
All right, that'd be a copper or two. All right, there you go. I found that in, how there's those strange people that come in out of the Kelliaston Expanse, right?
Right.
One of them sold me that for a shoelace. I know. I don't know why he wanted a shoelace, but he did.
I suppose there's many useful things that can be done with such.
Right.
Funny enough,
Just
someone
kind
did,
of mulls it over to himself.
someone did show up dead later that day, strangled.
That
Anyway,
that would be quite impressive.
It
Terrible.
was a good shoelace. Terrible. Of course, terrible.
But
What was your name anyway, sir?
can I roll insight on this dude? Just like, is he putting on some kind of show? Does all this stuff look legit? Like,
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not good at this. I don't know what my pluses are, but it was a natural 2.
A natural 2?
And I got a.
I didn't roll that high, so.
It's a 0.
Oh. He is...
I like the cut of your jib. Felix Blyton.
Hugh, good fellow.
Pleasure, good sir.
Pleasure to meet you. All right, well, feel free to browse my wares. There's a lot of little kiddies trying to... Oi, you there!
He goes running off as a kid tries to grab something off the wagon. He's like,
You're gonna have to buy that.
Knives, you can also see this man behind you.
When he's... No, I won't do that.
So Knives had started making his way back to the central keep, and upon seeing Terence leaving in a bit of a huff, who I don't really want to deal with that, kind of just turns back around and walks towards the commotion.
Yeah, Terence doesn't see you. Cool. So you're just walking towards the merchant,
Yeah.
and he, as he...
Give me that back. Now, stealing is bad. And see this fine... Oh, very fine guard here. Interesting. Now you're a curiosity. Hugh, good fellow. And you are?
Knives.
Knives. Like the cutting implement.
Exactly.
All right then. I guess you're
Dashing.
Extremely dashing. Two very dashing young men here. I'm all aflutter.
And then he turns around and looks at the wagon and goes,
Anything I can interest you in? Maybe
pulls up, like, just seemingly out of nowhere, this very ornate looking dagger.
a knife for a knife?
I've got my own things. He pats the
All
swords on
right,
his
no
side.
worries.
With a flourish, it disappears.
Well, feel free to keep browsing.
Felix just kind of stares, and it's like, very well armed for a place like this.
In my line of work, you have to be.
Curious. He turns and walks off.
Meanwhile, at the circle of trees, you look up at these trees. Now, it is normal for only one to be flowering at this time of year. It is only the beginnings of spring, and a more standard omen would be for this cherry blossom to be flowering. But that entwining is very unusual. If you're wanting to try to interpret those omens, I will get you to make a religion check, and you can use either wisdom or intelligence, your choice.
Okay.
Actually, you draw... Yeah, I'm gonna let you use charisma.
Okay.
So a charisma religion check.
Okay, sure. I didn't do very well.
Take it back. Take it back.
12.
12. 12's
Yeah.
not bad.
Okay.
12's not
Yeah.
bad.
What a 0 before.
Of the omens you can make
better
out, you are seeing omens of healthy growth and harvest, and generally good omens. You would believe the weather's going to be fine. There may be some rain or some wind and some not great times, but on the whole, everything is looking like a good, normal year. But the dark oak and this cherry tree are becoming entwined even at the roots. Their branches wrapping together and not blooming. For you, as you look up, one of the blossoms from the tree falls out and lands in the palm of your hand, where it withers and dies. You, with that 12, cannot interpret the omen, but you do get the feeling that something is very, very wrong. Beyond you, I'm going to first of all get you to roll a stealth check before I do anything else.
Ooh.
Sounds like a big one.
All right. Bear with me. This is me counting.
Nat. The
25. Yeah, it's not.
25.
It's going to be fingers all the time.
Beyond you, entirely unseen by you, in the trees, also looking through the trees at this most unusual looking figure, who perhaps even looks more familiar to you than the others would, is another person. If you would like to describe your character, Nat.
Well, I am currently hiding behind a tree. I'm dirty. I am very furry. I have golden hair all over my body, but it's sort of patchy, and a little bits are darker brown. I have pigtails that go down to my ankles that have sticks, flowers, trinkets, all sorts of stuff stuck in them. My horns curve. I have backwards knees.
It's got kicked in. It's unrelated to what you're playing.
I'm wearing skirts, which are it's a skirt but also shorts, in a dark colour.
That classic fantasy item of clothing.
Yes, also quite dark. I'm wearing was once a beautiful ruffled purple billowing top, clinched in with a corset made from a snarg. But I'm all very dirty at the moment and very confused about what I'm looking at.
So, as you're looking at this, the festivities, as they begin to pick up, you see more and more people beginning to move about the town in looking like, you're seeing more and more people who look like you, basically. All these little tiny short ones in particular, looking more like you, and like little, little wings and like fairy-like things that you're seeing. But it's also hasn't gone so well before for you to get any closer. A ball bounces and rolls up towards the tree line near you.
Where did it come from? Can I see where it came from?
Sure, make a perception check. You can easily see that the children kicked it up towards you.
Now, what are you doing? Save some for the rest of us. I got a 0 before.
Well, I got the opposite.
Perfectly balanced.
The ball came from the children playing on the green, kicking it, but it appears you can see one kid, all right, trudging up the hill trying to find it. It appears that they don't know where this ball is. They lost sight of it.
What does the ball, how big is the ball? Is it like, is it shiny?
No, it would probably be
just
made of, it'd probably be an animal bladder.
A proper ball.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up and maybe throw it back and sort of tentatively step around the tree and sort of.
So you actually step out into the open?
Yes.
The kid just screams at the top of his lungs and bolts back towards the rest of them.
Let's go behind the tree again.
Make another stealth check for me.
Can I make a perception check?
Sure. Good luck.
I'm looking towards the
Yeah.
screaming.
I was going to say, is it loud enough that we would hear the scream?
27.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah, anyone can make that check. If anyone beats a 27...
I actually rolled
got a
really well.
7.
I rolled a 17
What check
plus
were you making?
things.
Perception.
But
Perception.
Yeah.
17 minus things.
Well,
no.
I don't know.
I did not
because
beat it.
I'm good at everything, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
It's plus 0. So it's a 17 total.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
The kid's running away. That's weird.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is literally just crouching behind
I
a
will
tree.
say,
No one can see me.
Even though
Kids are so frustrated.
even though you definitely can't see her,
Yeah.
you can absolutely see a kid just screamed.
Yeah.
And this is maybe like 10, 20 feet from you.
Yeah.
My hands are on my swords.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go over to where the kid's going.
I still have a
I'm
7
not going to
wisdom.
expect anything too bad because it's just a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to hear it, look at it, and be like, kids, pain. Walk away.
Yeah.
7 wisdom.
All right, cool. So you're going over to have a look, and you're just hand on swords, kind of like
Yep.
keeping an eye out. To the kid, tears going down his face. I'm just going to check the name here. That one.
You don't have it all memorized?
I actually had this memorized. I just forgot it.
Well, then did you?
No, was it like... Good question. Okay, so you approach this kid who you know as Elise. So he, crying, just weeping, isn't going to say anything until you approach.
Did you hurt yourself? Are you okay?
There's a scary lady in the trees.
What do you mean, a scary lady?
Like,
Oh, was she one of the actors? I know that they're rehearsing for the play.
no, I don't know.
Okay. Did you want to go and show me? We'll go together. Okay. No. It's all right. I'll hold your hand.
Make a persuasion check for me.
I'm not doing good.
Show me!
11.
11? Oh, yeah, that's fine. The kid very
I'm really good at
tentatively
persuading.
takes your hand, just like keeping super close to you. Lets you walk to the tree line and just kind of tugs you when you're going the wrong direction. And then just when you're in the tree line, so like not even gone to the place where he screamed, he just... She was over there.
All right, let's have a look. There's probably an animal or someone that's gotten lost. I have a look.
All right, so you can walk up and you can make a perception check if you want. Are you going to try to remain hidden?
Yes.
Okay, then you don't need to roll, you got a 27. I'll actually, you know what, roll again, but roll with advantage, and you can just roll.
You just don't exist.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to change which one I'm using.
Oh, God.
I got a 10.
20.
Yeah. Dirtier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't appear to be anything there at all.
There's no one there. They're at least gone now, whoever was there.
But if they're gone, they might come back, right?
Oh, I think you were just tricked by the light. There's lots of people in
Sure?
costume here today. Yes, I'm sure.
All right.
Yeah, let's go back. We'll see what performers are around, okay? All right.
He goes back with you, but he keeps like looking over his shoulder. He's pretty shaken.
I watched them leave.
Ominous.
Meeting the villain. In joke that you guys don't get.
may have killed some peeps.
Yeah. Player on player. Don't always recommend it. So,
It depends. Is it player on player or is it player on
You're just lucky we were
yeah,
behind.
player on player is a whole other story. All right. So,
I would have launched across the day.
for the rest of the day, what would you like to be doing for the rest of that day?
I want to check out the town and see why all my peeps are down there,
Sure. Okay.
or like what's going on.
Yeah.
So I just want to watch.
I'll just get you to make like an investigation check for that then. And you're just, what are you doing now that you've seen Terrence is in a bad mood?
I'll have to go and see him at some point. But for now, I might try and find Emmett.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And Juniper?
I'm just going to spend the day with the festivities.
Cool. Great.
I've gone back to rating the costumes and making the most elaborate thing that I can. No one will best me in costumes.
Excellent. Okay.
We'll see.
Can't match me, dog.
All right. I think we're gonna need a maybe disguise kit check for that. I reckon.
Got a costume off.
What's that, dexterity and proficiency?
It's a nah. I'm gonna call. I'd say this is charisma. So yeah. And do you have
Shit roller.
With proficiency.
do you have proficiency in disguise kit?
I do.
I doubt it.
Then
In
just
your tools
charisma.
section.
Why would I?
It'd be in tools
Where? Where's your tools?
down there. Yeah.
Oh.
Fingers.
No?
Then it's just charisma.
Okay.
It's cocked.
Oh.
There's like, but I don't know if I want to. No, I have to, don't I? I don't want to roll bad.
I would say as well, if I'm a homebrew rule that I often use, and you're gonna get a lot of those. Don't at me. So
Do.
you do also have proficiency in performance. I don't know if I'd allow advantage in this case, but sometimes I will do that. If you are making a
I have
check
to
where
roll
both a
again
tool
anyway.
and a skill would apply, you roll with advantage.
Okay.
So,
So not in this case.
not in
then?
this case.
I gotta roll
I would
again
say.
anyway.
Yeah.
So it's charisma proficiency.
Yeah.
That is a 23.
23. Back to her normal self. Symone is Ella Wheaton.
I actually rolled well.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not a 23.
No, it's a 19.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. His is definitely the best in the town.
Makes sense though.
Yeah. Okay.
God, if you didn't hate him already.
So as you two are making costumes and enjoying the festivities, I'm going to go through you guys a little bit first. The sun, Suravite, continues to climb up into the sky, the day getting longer. Sometimes the mountains here make the lengths of the day actually fluctuate quite heavily with the season. Is the spring equinox the shortest day of the year? No, don't think it is. It is the spring equinox. I can't remember if that's no, it's when it's perfectly equal.
I thought it was the winter
winter
solstice.
It's winter solstice is the shortest, and the spring
yeah.
equinox is perfectly equal. Yeah.
In this
Remember that much?
Yeah, in this world.
You're the boss, dude.
So Suravite rises up, casting his glow upon the world as the day slowly turns on. You, as you go down, what did you get for your investigation check?
14.
14. You're seeing, as you like kind of just peeking out through the trees, lots of these little people that look, some have horns, some have wings. Can't really tell much more than that. They just seem to have come out of nowhere. What you do see as well though is that there's people nailing iron above doors and putting little stones in it to make like smiley faces out of the iron. And all sorts of strange like garlands of mistletoe as well. All these things that you're like kind of set off your I don't like this radar.
My I don't like this radar is pinging.
Yes.
Marking territory.
No.
But you're probably, I will say, you're probably putting together that they all seem to be coming out at the same time, so they're maybe for something. You're looking for Emmett and Fenelon. Yeah, no need to check for that. It's a small village. You're able to quite quickly find them. On the green, there are stalls beginning to be set up. Some of the villagers have begun to erect stalls. There's one of the, the classic hit the strength hammer thing. And you actually do have to ask around briefly before someone points you down the hill and towards the coast. A place, I'll say, do you reckon you would have ever taken time off to go to the beach, basically, in the little bit of time you've been here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I would have.
So the place that the young people go here is this cliffside part of the peninsula where you can leap off the rocks to the water below. Nothing like the real world at all. So you can do that, and basically you are told that they are headed in that direction. So they've probably gone down to those cliffs. So would you want to follow them?
Yeah, I'll start making my way down there, and probably when I'm about halfway and the sea breeze starts coming up with the wind, I'll stop and keep making my way.
Yeah. So this side of the peninsula is quite sea ravaged, so that sea breeze is strong. The little cove that they go to, Tentry's Cove, very imaginatively named, is sheltered from the open water, but if you get a little too far out, it can be a bit dangerous because it is just the open bight on this side. The other side is the Circassian Gulf, a bay, but soon after, you find them there as Fenelon, just wearing basically undergarments now, as is he, leaps off the top of a cliff down into the water, and Emmett looks up and waves at you enthusiastically.
Emmett?
Knives? Is that your real name? I know I keep asking.
It's my real name to you.
Bird.
Well, you gonna jump?
Not today. I'm happy to be here with the ocean breeze, though.
You're just gonna watch.
Aye.
It's a little weird.
I am still on duty.
All right, well, I guess watch this then. He goes running up to the edge and leaps off.
Belly flop, belly flop, belly flop.
Yeah, look, it's not bad, it's a 10. Tries for a somersault, just kind of gives up halfway through and dives instead. And comes up, laughing, the two of them, and you kind of look down and what's Knives thinking in this moment? Why has he actually gone down here?
He sort of watches them in the water for a little bit, but sort of eventually his eyes just lift up and is just gazing the horizon of the water.
Yeah. There are a few other young people around, day off, leaping off the rocks as well. A few people try to drag you off, but not literally drag you off, that's very dangerous.
You're a brick wall.
Try to get you to go, but I'm assuming you just keep sort of shaking your head and yeah. All right. As they later come up out of the water, Fenelon and Emmett come up, and Emmett goes, "Oh, the play this evening. I'm taking Fenelon, but did you want to come too?"
I wouldn't want to be your third wheel.
Oh, no. No. They both kind of get very uncomfortable all of a sudden. No, you wouldn't be. Friends, all that.
Sure, I'll be there.
Great, awesome. All right, cool. Then starts jumping off again.
Could never be a PC.
Never. All right.
No.
In the meantime, costume competition. So
Red carpet
you
event.
would have spent, I think maybe we'll say, you guys spend a bit of your time kind of enjoying the festivities and getting the costume ready. You see Juniper at one point coming out with the costume, which I'll give you guys a bit longer to think about maybe, unless you're ready to describe something if you want.
I didn't think you were going to ask us.
I absolutely thought you were going to ask us.
And this is why you got a 19.
I missed a lot of information because I've been going.
Yeah. So what we'll do is time rolls on, festivities swell, people in costume begin to emerge from everywhere. To your eyes, the entire village has become creatures of the other.
I will go down.
Okay.
I will.
Okay. As the crowds come out, you have one person walks out of a hut and goes, "Whoa! What a costume! How did you make this?"
What?
Sorry. Wow, rude. And goes walking off.
Stop it.
And everyone kind of moves around you. A few of the kids go, looking amazed and excited, and you see the little kid who screamed before just kind of moves past you and glances and then runs on but doesn't take much more notice. Juniper, you emerge from the fort with your costume ready, and
If Felix notices Juniper,
I was about to
he
say, I
waits.
feel like you've
He
been,
waits.
you've been watching it. Yeah, so you're like...
He wants to see what's happening first.
Cool, so, throwing you in the deep end.
Okay.
What are you wearing?
So I added a bit of height to the taller shoes that I had. So I'm much taller than the already very tall height that I had. I've created a big long skirt out of just natural debris that I've found. And because of that, I really stand out amongst the crowd more than I already do. And I've created a headdress as well. Something quite like abstract, but still out of this natural material.
Felix just kind of watches for a moment, takes in, has his moment of, he admires good taste.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Felix is also one to hog attention. Before I do, quick question: can I, without going too much into it, can I just get the basic genre of this play that we're putting together?
Okay, it is a, like, it's a satirical comedy, like, it's very magic oriented. There's a lot of, like, weird creatures and things like that. At one point there's horses with teeth, like sharp teeth.
I think horses do have teeth.
Yeah, they don't have, like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like shark teeth.
yeah, like
Shark horse.
fangs. I'm pretty sure I did just write horses with teeth, because apparently I don't know what
Because
horses
you
are.
thought horses didn't have teeth.
They just gum.
They all have dentures. All of them.
Better.
Oh no, I said fanged, it's fine.
So to start, Felix just kind of peeks his head through the curtain and starts kind of almost like painting dots into the air and just sprinkling little sounds of very high-pitched bells among the audience, just to kind of get people's attention, get them curious. This is like ding, 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 ding. Very ethereal with his minor illusion prestidigitation. And then he steps out, he kind of throws open the stage curtain. Paula probably has no idea what's going on. He just throws open the stage curtain and you can see that he's kind of makeshifted. Felix, beforehand, was wearing a furred cloak that he kind of keeps on him at all times. He's attached a number of ribbons to the back of it along the collar to almost have this like waviness to it as he throws it around and it just splashes through the air. Bright golds and reds. He has this swashbuckler's mask that he's put small fake jewelry along. He's taken this hat and maybe with a bit more coordination with, what was the guy he bought it from?
The hat, Hugh.
Yeah, he trusts him with every inch of his being. I'm going to say he's probably spent a few more copper just kind of going through, looking for some, probably more of the Marvidish items that he had. He's taken apart this hat, he's cut into it, he's reshaped it. A lot of the pieces that were hanging, he's intertwined with golden lace. He's wearing this silken shirt, and it's just this dazzling amount of color. He's got this bright feather coming from his cap. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen," booming his voice out so that everyone can hear him. "Come one, come all, to the newest, finest production from the fine Praveret," I hope I got that right, presents a tale of whimsy, comedy, adventure. One to titilize the senses, to grasp your attention, something not to be missed. And he starts kind of flourishing his cape and using his minor illusion. He creates almost this like confetti effect in the audience using the similar pattern to his cape. And is like, "This is not an event to be missed. Come one, come soon. For this is the opportunity of a lifetime to see the finest work of dramatic flourish. My words are getting lost. Helmed by, of course, your one and only.
As you're saying that, Sand in costume, just like hastily thrown up, comes and runs up on stage and goes, "And me," and bows. Not his name, and me.
Okay. Felix kind of gives a small look of disdain, raises his hand, and creates another blast of confetti around him. Considering doing something very different, he gives him this moment to shine and is like, "Do not miss the opportunity of a lifetime. Boys, girls, gentlemen, ladies, all shapes and sizes. Join us." And he kind of sweeps his way back into the curtain.
Applause starts ringing out.
And we'll finish there. Part 1, Part 2 soon to come. Hit the bell icon, subscribe, like it, do a little jig. We'll see you later this week.